Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you. Well, I hope everybody does come back, Ed. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties, everyone. Hello. Welcome back. Thank you. This is a new system we're trying out, so hopefully all continues to go well. It went well last week with Caroline, so I just blame you.
It's me. Listen, I used to be somebody, and now I'm doing this dog and pony, internet MySpace crap. But it's all fine. It's all
Great.
fine.
Awesome. Yeah. MySpace. That's what we're going live on right now. That's why there's nobody here. No, again.
Some technical.
Again, for those of you who came back, thank you. It's probably all the people you just posted. So yeah, it's
Sure.
all your friends coming on to see you. Thank you all for again joining us. Ed, now that I can hear you, tell
Yes.
us a little bit about yourself so I can hear it as well.
Sure. I also was just, by the way, rambling like the last 5 minutes or so. So I have no idea if any of that went live or anything. If it did, enjoy the additional information. I was born in Chicago. I grew up in Brookfield, which is a suburb outside of Chicago. Then I moved back into the city about 30 years ago, and have studied everything here I could, from like dance class and voice lessons and improv and circus arts. I always thought as an actor, it's kind of like being Batman, and the more stuff that's on your tool belt, the more opportunities you have to work. And I still believe that. Uh, so yeah, I kind of wanted, it's gotten a little more focused now, but I know when I first started, I wanted to do everything. It's like, I want to do musicals, I want to do plays, I want to do improv, I want to be a physical actor. So I kind of did all of that, and I always feel like career wise, it's been kind of like Slumdog Millionaire, or the end of spoiler alert, Usual Suspects, where these random things I studied during my life came back in a crazy way. Where, like, I was a stilt walker for 7 years with a circus, the Midnight Circus here in town, and I all of a sudden got hired to stilt walk in a commercial. And it was just so random. I'm like, oh God, this thing I did years ago, I can actually use now. So. Uh, it's been a lot of that, like lots of just random things that came back in a good way.
That's fun. Well, you have worked on stage and screen, and screen small and big screens. Yeah. What
Yes.
would you say? What?
I said yes. I feel like I was like, yes, and see, improv.
Yes. Yeah. What can you talk any? I kind of want to. I mean, we'll get into commercials in a second, but I would love to start off with talking about TV and film. What was your transition? Because a lot of people here in Chicago, again, we're kind of doing this for Chicago folks. For those of you who are listening, what was your transition from stage to moving into on camera like?
Yeah, I mean, it all lined up. I think the time it was supposed to. I could, in my 20s, I could not get arrested. I was doing like storefront theater and stuff where I wasn't paid, and I was a singing waiter, and it was just things were not going well. And then somewhere around 30, I think I also just calmed down a little bit, and literally, it was like, oh, it's your turn. So I had started doing commercials, and had broken into that. The cast director started to get to know who I was, and then for those of you who have been here for a while, the amazing Jane Alderman was the first TV film casting director to call me in. And what happened was, I was a big nerd. I'm sure you don't see that in me now. They had a guest star on early edition that they were going to
Mm.
fly in from LA, who canceled at the last second for whatever reason. And they needed someone to start like in like a day. And they faxed me like 15 pages and said, can you come in? And it was an hour drive there. I had like 5 minutes with these sides, and I went in and I auditioned, and Jane Alderman was the most incredible reader, and I booked it. And that was like my first TV film, like national TV thing. And got a taste of what that was like. And of course, then it's like you just want more. But that was the first really big thing, and I owe that to Jane Alderman, who took a chance on this nerdy commercial guy.
I did see that on your resume, the early edition. I was going to
Yeah.
ask, 'cause that was, that's old school Chicago right there.
Oh, absolutely. And that was. I was also really, as I say, I was a very late bloomer. I feel like once I joined SAG, all of a sudden it was like things just started to come my way. So I think the first thing, it's just all kind of hazy. There was also a series with Jeremy Piven called Cupid that was on for like a minute. I think I had booked that, and then like a month later, I booked early edition. So I felt like, oh my God, here comes the TV film stuff. Uh, so yeah, it's like everything else on your resume. I think once you start doing something, then it just starts to hopefully keep building, whether that's theater, whether that's TV film stuff. But it gives you a little bit of credibility, I think, once you've done a speaking role on a series, or or film.
Yeah. Uh, so commercials, you have done a couple. I mean, I know because I've heard you say how many. How many commercials have you done?
Uh, to be clear, I'm not, I don't want to sound like a jerk because it's like, well, I've
Oh,
done this. I've been ridiculously fortunate. And I should say, I joined SAG in 1997. So this wasn't all last year, but I've done
okay.
around 75 commercials,
Yeah.
something
That's awesome.
in that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And again, I was lucky to find the right, I just fell into a certain type at a certain time and things just kind of lined up. But I need to go back to 10 years of bartending and waiting tables before that. I promise you that
Well,
happened first.
yeah. Well, I mean, something that you said earlier, right, is, like your 20s, you're like, what is, like, what is this? And then like 30s hit. I think that's a real conversation in itself, right? Is about how, says the guy with the deep voice who's been playing the dad since he was, 18, in theater in high school. Is always old man because of the voice, right? But it's like kind of aging into a role sometimes, or into a type, if you will, right, for commercials, that sort of thing. But that's, I mean, for people listening, right, that encouragement of, right, when everything starts to fit as far as like who you are and what you can do. Do you feel like that was? I mean, you kind of said it, but I don't want to place that upon you. But would you agree?
No, I mean, absolutely, it was perfect. And I often tell younger actors too, like the timeline you have for yourself and the timeline that the world has for you are two entirely different things. Because yeah, again, in my 20s, all my friends were working at big theaters and joining equity and doing stuff, and I could not catch my break. And then now
Mm,
that I'm on the other side of that, I'm like, oh, that's because that was not supposed to be my time. My time came when
right.
I grew more into my type and what I can do. And also, I'll say this out loud. I was a maniac in my 20s. I was like on caffeine. And I was like, I'm going to do plays. And I think somewhere after 30, I also just calmed down a little bit. And I'm still, I think, a zany, goofy guy, but I think it's a more accessible, goofy guy now.
Yeah,
And I think there was that too. Like I had to learn how to harness what I can offer.
gotcha. For those of you who are watching, it seems like some of you are. Feel free to. We can see the chat, so if you want to leave comment or chat or ask a question for Ed, bring it. You can bring those questions, and we can answer them live. Thank you all so much for watching. Ed, if that
Yes,
is your real name, I've never asked. That is your real name, right? No.
sure.
Um, so a lot of what the reason we're chatting today, or one of the reasons we're chatting today, is to chat about commercials. You are doing a workshop at Vagabond School of the Arts, coming up in like 2 weeks or so, the 18th, I believe. I should know that, but I don't. But it's
It's
coming
the
up in about 2 weeks.
Yes, the 18th and the 19th. It's a Saturday
There
and
you
a
go.
Sunday.
Yeah, and so it's strictly based around, again, your time both auditioning and being on set for commercials, and how to use improv appropriately, because it is different than just saying, like, doing long form, doing a herald. For those of you improv nerds, know what we're talking about. So. Can you talk a little bit about kind of your experience using improv, without giving too much away? But talk a
Sure.
little bit about your experience, doing improv for commercials.
I laugh like it's a murder mystery. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. Uh, so I think even I'm going to talk about this in the course too, but I've talked about this just in life. There's also a difference.
I think I might have lost you. Are you there? Hi. Up there, he's back. Great. There you are. You're back. Sorry, I lost you for a second.
And that's how you do it. I feel like
And that
people
was
lose.
great. I'm glad we did this. I'm so
When
glad that everybody heard exactly. They don't even need to take the class anymore.
when did you lose me? Because I kept going. I was like, I don't know if I'm on
I
or
really think, I don't know. I don't know if it's your internet or mine, but I think it was. I think you were like, "Well, I'm going to say this in the class," but and then it
oh,
went
that's
out.
that was actually
So,
good. That was a good way to cut off.
cliffhanger.
Uh, I'll say quickly that there's a difference between using, I think, improv in auditions and when you're doing it on set. And I
Mm.
use it a lot in the audition room to book the job, because the poor casting directors and the client, they have heard these lines a billion times. So if I can walk into the room and put a little tag at the end and throw a little twist in there and get them to laugh, very often they will hire you, because they're like, oh my God, finally we laughed out loud. Then oftentimes you get to set, they'll say, yeah, don't do any of that. The script has been approved by our legal department. You can't add anything. Uh, so yeah, I think there's a big difference between what you do in the audition room and what you do on set. Hi, Kate Buddicky. Am I allowed to answer this?
Oh,
Does
sure.
improv
Here, you want go for it.
include serious improv as well as comedic? That is a great question. By the way, Kate's done like 5 Broadway shows. She's a huge deal. So she's awesome.
Thank
Um, and the answer to that is absolutely yes. I have a whole list, because there's improv doesn't just mean like tell a joke. It's also sometimes they just even ask you to do some chatter at the very beginning, or to fill things in. So I'm absolutely, to me, the key really is, and this is for Kate asking and for everyone out there, it's really about just being open and responding in the moment. So if you've ever taken a Meisner class, I think Meisner is basically just improv, and I like them both because I think that they're really about just responding honestly to what's happening in front of you. So whether that's comedic, which usually lays into commercials easier, or even shooting up a regular scene, but you want to be spontaneous. So I think improv is also just embracing your spontaneity and speaking to it.
Yeah, and
But
something
thank you.
that sorry, yeah, and
Oh,
something that Ed, you and I talked about was MOS commercials, right? Commercials with no lines. That is, I mean, to a certain extent, that is, serious improv as well, right? Serious in the sense of just, it's not about, being funny necessarily when you're just like at a meal with your family and you just have to enjoy the meal with your family. You should still be, to a certain extent, unless they tell you otherwise, you can verbalize, you can talk with each other around the table if you need to, but it doesn't necessarily have to be making people laugh either.
yeah,
Again, depending on the feel of the spot.
absolutely. And I don't want to get too far off the mark here. We're also, of
Mm.
course, going to cover the haha. We want some of the haha in there. So, especially with commercials, I think again, what gets you hired, one of my greatest joys is when I throw something in and it actually ends up in the final edit and the final cut. I'm like, look at that. It's always a great feeling.
They liked me.
They liked what I did. And sometimes they also hire you specifically because they're like, yeah, we want you to improvise. We want you to add something into this. We want you to bring whatever it is you bring. So we're going to be covering all of that in this class, but that's also just like a real life tool for everyone. Hey, Tim, has improv in an audition ever hurt your chances when the audience isn't open to it? Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to say hurt my chances. It's not like they threw things at me, but I have been told, like, don't do that. Like, absolutely. Stop that right now. Though, quick story too, sometimes they don't even know what they want till you show it to them. One of the very first things I ever shot, this was the job I joined on was a Ford commercial. I'm supposed to walk in and like pull down the covers of the bed, and it's just pillows, and my wife has gotten up early and taken our Ford, and I thought she was in the bed the whole time. So I pulled down the
Mhm.
covers, one of the first takes, and I took one of the pillows and I hit myself in the head with it, and they instantly were like, that don't do that, don't do-" I'm like, okay, that's the take they used. Even though they told me on
Mhm.
set not to use it, they used that in the final take. So I think also with shooting stuff in particular, nowadays especially, we shoot every. I love, by the way, whenever someone says nowadays, they sound like they're 106. Regardless, nowadays everything is shot on digital, so I think you're a little more free to improvise because you're not burning film. Back in the days, we shot everything on film. If you were screwing up or improvising too much, it was costing them something. Film was expensive. And now it's like they they don't mind so much. But yeah, there's a big um, knowledge base of knowing when to use it and when not to. And that's one of the best things I can tell you truly is I was talking to AJ at PR Casting the other day about just this very thing. She's like, a tag at the end is terrific. So say you do the commercial copy and you have something funny, throw it in at the very, very end. Because she said too, if it's funny, great. And if it doesn't work, she can edit that out of your audition and then still use your fantastic audition. So that's the way to do it. You don't want to completely throw the script out the window. You want to throw in a little a little flavor, especially in an audition towards the end. That's a great way to do it. And that way, too, you're not insulting the person who wrote the script. Uh, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh shoot, I had something off that. No, I lost it because I was reading I was reading
Uh,
the things coming in.
hey, I like. Um,
But yes, that is all great stuff. Can we really quick, for those of you playing along, watching live, can we show your commercial reel just to show some of your
what?
experience?
No, absolutely not. Of course, go ahead.
Surprise! All right, let's all sit back and watch a little bit of Ed.
It's 90 seconds, so
Woo! Testing, testing. Is this thing on?
Huh?
Come on, your turn. Woo!
Where do pencils go on vacation?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Crunchy wheat, frosted sweet. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats. Feed your inner kid.
Check it out. I just saved 15% on car insurance in 15 minutes, so I took a selfie to show everyone how happy I am.
Really? Because Esurance saved me money in half that time. Can I?
Oh, you can be in it. No need to photobomb me. Hash brown, selfie.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
15 minutes for a quote isn't how it works anymore.
A flat stomach. It's not just for Hollywood movie stars anymore. With these Crunch Crunches, I've combined two of my passions, washboard abdominals and deliciously heart-healthy Kellogg's Raisin Bran Crunch. And that's 5. Time for a break.
Now it's mixed up.
Running Man, do Running Man. Not bad.
Like it?
Hash brown, rock hard abs. What was it? Rock hard abdominals.
yeah.
Hash
all the
brown.
so funny. Looking at that stuff now, I'm thinking like I should review this before I teach this class. So much of that stuff was there was a laundry commercial in there where I jumped up on a table in the conference room and was dancing. I wasn't supposed to do that at all. I was supposed to stand in front of the table and talk. And some music came on. I was supposed to just like kind of dance. And I was like, oh no, there's a table. Of course I'm going to table dance. And literally in the middle of a take, just got up and did it. They loved it. So to answer Tim's earlier question, the opposite is sometimes they fall in love with it. They had to move the camera because the shot wasn't originally wide enough to catch what I was doing. But they reshaped the whole thing around this fact that I had, like an idiot, jumped up on this table and started to like dance for my money. So yeah, I think in general, more often than not, they like when you add something because you're giving them options and you're playing and hopefully bringing life to what they like. So
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing is that a sense of play, especially for commercials, is a good attitude and a good thing to bring into both an audition room and a set, right? A sense of play. But I'm sure that when they told you don't hit yourself, I mean they liked the take, they used it, right? So yay for play. Hashtag hey for play. Yay for play. Hey for play. But the other thing is I'm guessing that you have no that you're okay saying no I don't have to do that right you right
yeah,
you stop it when they tell you to stop. You're like, got it, not what you want. Go.
absolutely, and it's all about, especially on set. You can't take any of that personally. Because the moment I have the job, I'm like, they're paying me. It's great. So if they want me to like wear these clothes they give me to wear, fine. If they want me to improvise, fine. If they don't want me to improvise, it's fine. I love being on set so much that if they're like, yeah, don't do that, I'm like, okay. Like I literally have very little ego attached to it because I have a kid, but I'm so happy to be there that it's like I'm fine. There's free food and free haircuts. Like, what's not to like about doing this? So yeah.
That's awesome. I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna put up. Come on, that's not as bad as my other
No,
filled
or
up
the faux pas.
comments. I'm gonna throw up your QR code here. Boom. There's a QR
Oh.
code. So yeah, right. For those people who are on the Facebook and want to take a gander, you can. I'm going to leave that up there for a second. Any final thoughts on your class? What people might take away from the class?
Yeah,
Just leave that up there for a second.
there's going to be an open bar. There's going to be
Great.
a carving station, so there's going to be roast beef and a spiral ham. So that's just for that.
We didn't talk about this. Is this on Vagabond's budget? Is this
Yeah.
okay? All right.
Absolutely.
I'll see what we can do.
It's in my rider. Everyone knows I do not work without a spiral ham. Everyone knows that. It's my calling card.
Great.
6 viewers have scanned the QR code. You guys, that's amazing. I know the class is serious. It's going to be this. The main thing is going to be it's going to be an odd term, but like a safe space. If you've never improvised, if you improvised but you've never been on camera, it's really a place just to come and relax. I'm not a casting director. I'm not an agent, and there will be no casting directors or agents there. So this is the perfect time to come and just like try to flex these muscles a little bit and see what you can do. And if you leave knowing this much more and you book one commercial out of it, I will be as happy as can be because I like helping actors work.
There you go. Yeah, come and have a sense of play, right? Come in with a sense of play and see what you get out of it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
And it's gonna be fun. It should be a nice, fun, light couple of days. And so come and play with us.
It for sure will be fun. I have no doubt of that. I'm going to take away the QR code. Poof. All right. Magic, right? Though I will throw up. I got to come up with a different. I'm going to put up. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to let Ed have the last moment. So think about like what is your Jerry Springer final thoughts. So I'm going to bring it back in just 1 second. You think about that. Hey, everybody. It's me, Michael, again. I mean, I know I've been here the whole time, but I'm going to with Vagabond. Oh, there it is. So thank you all for joining us. I'm going to bring Ed back in just 1 second to give us his final thoughts. But you can find us at vagabondschool.com. So again, you click that QR code, all of our classes and our taping and coaching. If you need like audition tapes, all that sort of stuff, you can find here at vagabondschool.com. Not really touching it. And so go to vagabondschool.com, check out all our stuff. And you can also follow us on the socials at Instagram and Facebook. So you can follow us there. Also, now we have a YouTube page. So if you do a lot of YouTube and you want to help us out, we're trying to raise up our YouTube numbers now because we just created it recently. So go there, subscribe to us on YouTube so that we can raise those numbers up and get people watching these videos on the YouTube, which is, I believe, what the children are calling it these days. So that's my little plug for Vagabond and all things Vagabond. I'm going to bring Ed back on in. Ed, come on in. He fell asleep. All right, and that is... Oh, sorry.
Whoa. I know, it was all good.
I just want to say, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't ever do that again. That is not... We don't want that here.
Sleeping on camera?
Bring it back. All right, take it. I'll let you take it away. I'll get out of your way.
Sure. I got nothing else except seriously, take this class. It'll be fun. And as I said, if I could pass on even the tiniest morsel of information I've gathered over the years of doing this to any of you, that will just make my day. So seriously, come and play. It's going to be a fun couple of days.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ed, for being a part of this. Thank you, everybody who watched or who might still be watching, and tell all your friends and all that jazz. So thank you. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Bye, Internet.
Bye.